Well, what do we have here? Sam Chorus of ARK Invest on X posting this so I can come back in 5 years with a link to an article on Cox Automotive. Shout out to their 2010 website design. Hopefully their thinking is a little bit more up to date than their website. In the car business, quote, "The more things change, the more they stay the same." This week, the National Automobile Dealers Association, by the way, in case you guys don't know, car dealerships are going the way of the dinosaurs. I'm not sure if many car dealerships have realized this, that they're going extinct or not. I honestly don't know. But for what it's worth, car dealerships currently some of the most profitable businesses in the United States. Why? Well, apparently they do a great job of making huge amounts of money on maintenance and also the sale of vehicles. I guess if your profession is to negotiate and the people every day on the other end of that negotiation, 99% of which are not skilled negotiators, you're probably going to win and make a lot of money. So the National Automobile Dealers Association is hosting its annual convention in Las Vegas, showcasing the latest thinking and innovations from across the auto industry. I guess Tesla are the guest speakers or the guests of honor, right? If we're thinking about latest thinking and innovations across the auto industry, giga castings, heat pumps, compelling electric vehicles available for less than the average consumer pays for a new vehicle in the United States, Cybertruck, you'd assume. So looking forward to hearing more details about Tesla and their presence at this particular... Oh, wait, but Tesla doesn't have car dealerships, so maybe they're not invited? Dealers are always interested to hear the latest thinking from their respective OEM executives at the make meetings. I don't know, what the hell's a make meeting? Whatever. I suspect the OEM's message will drastically differ from the past few years. In 2019, Government Motors CEO Mary BS Barra made headlines when she said, quote, "In the next 5 years, we'll see more change than we have in the past 50 years. Not long after, the global scamdemic hit, and the pace of change in the industry was so rapid it looked like Mary was prescient with her prediction. By 2021, demand for new vehicles far exceeded supply for the first time in memory, and car buyers were thrilled to pay full sticker, as in get fucked by us, the Steelers. Car companies claimed they learned a valuable lesson from past sins: overproduction, significant fleet volumes, and high incentives. At this exact moment, many automakers began spending billions to construct massive new electric vehicle production facilities. The future would be 100% electric. It was only a matter of time. And lastly, we watched the meteoric rise of online auto retailers like Carvana, who claimed they would eventually make brick-and-mortar car dealerships obsolete." Spoiler alert, what's actually going to make car dealerships obsolete is automotive manufacturers selling direct-to-consumer by copying Tesla's model, where you can literally order a vehicle in a minute flat online on your phone. Nobody, except people who just really enjoy pain, and hey, not judging whatever you're into, but unless you want to fulfill your pain fetish, nobody enjoys the experience of going into a car dealership, not knowing what they're going to pay, have to negotiate, all this other bullshit. Nobody enjoys it. Plus, it is a waste of fucking time. Drive there, park, or if you don't already have a vehicle, take an Uber there, a taxi or something. Get yourself there. Wait, negotiate. Toward the end of the transaction, realize, oh, there's a bunch of shit I thought was included that wasn't. Pay more than you expected. And probably not even be able to drive the vehicle away on the day. Terrible experience versus order online. Car dealerships are entirely unnecessary, and they are going away. The message at this week's NADA convention is likely to be that disciplined production, the rise of EVs, and online retailing will all be minor evolutions in... Oh, fuck me. I just want to emphasize this. They're suggesting that the message at the convention, which, I mean, the message might be what is actually said at the convention, whether or not it's true and aligns with reality, a different matter. The rise of EVs and online retailing, as in direct-to-consumer sales, will all be minor evolutions to the industry versus significant revolutions. That's right. Electric vehicles are not going to be a significant revolution, and car dealers should definitely not be concerned about automotive manufacturers selling direct to consumers, because consumers love the experience of going to a car dealership, getting fucked and wasting time. The gravitational forces of industry norms will be on full display in 2024. Now, that is true. Last year, new vehicle inventories increased by 56%, propelling the industry to 15.6 million total unit sales, very close to pre-scamdemic levels. Fleet volumes increased by 30% and are heading back towards historical norms. Skipping ahead a little bit, when it gets to the juicy part. Although EV sales reached a new all-time high in 2023, with a 7.6% market share and eclipsed 1 million sales for the first time, it is becoming increasingly clear that EVs will not revolutionize the industry in the near term as many expected. Strong copium here from these dealers. Just to be clear, again, I quote, it is becoming increasingly clear that electric vehicles will not revolutionize the industry in the near term as many expected. Moments after, the same paragraph, moments after, they describe electric vehicle sales reaching an all-time high, eclipsing 1 million sales for the first time, and this matters a lot. Historically speaking, we are seeing exponential growth continuing, suggesting that, in fact, in the near term, in the next few years, we are going to see enormous increases in electric vehicle sales, completely disrupting the internal combustion engine industry and, yes, the car dealership model as well. EV sales gains were driven by unprecedented discounting, with the EV market leader Tesla dropping prices by over 25% on popular models in 2023. Oh, God. Meanwhile, as the legacy car companies try to break into the EV game, they face the brutal reality of rising EV inventories, declining... Oh, God, I'm going to choke to death here. Declining consumer demand, you heard it here first, folks. Actually, you've heard it everywhere. Apparently, car companies are facing declining consumer demand for electric vehicles. One paragraph after electric vehicle sales reached new all-time highs in 2023. But there is declining consumer demand. Because how does that work? Oh, wait, it doesn't work. Brain dead. And dreadful margins. Analysts recommend that Ford lost $36,000 per EV sold in Q3 of 2023. Now, true, not a great business model, but if Ford can get to scale eventually, they might start making money on their EVs. Big if. But everyone's going to have to go through this painful process. This part, at least, is a accurate, brutal reality. Declining consumer demand, however, bro, the issue is not demand. It's making compelling, well-priced vehicles and not losing insane money doing so. Proof of concept, Tesla is doing exactly that. The CEO, or CFO, of Mercedes-Benz Group recently commented, I can hardly imagine the current status quo is fully sustainable for anybody. Ford and others have begun walking back their EV ambitions and shifting their strategy towards ICE and hybrids. Yep, they're doubling down on the horse and buggy. I'm sure that's going to age well. Skipping ahead further, Bill Gates once commented, quote, we always overestimate the pace of change in the next 2 years and underestimate the pace of change in the next 10. This sentiment perfectly captures the current state of the auto industry. The car business's fundamentals remain intact despite the never-ending wave of disruptors, innovations, and new ownership concepts. Oh, God. Car companies that focus on building the best products customers want, you mean compelling electric vehicles, coupled with franchise dealers providing, fuck off, outstanding service. Bro, this is one self-fillating organism right here. Franchise dealers providing outstanding service, okay, you say so, will be a winning formula for the foreseeable future. With the benefit of perfect hindsight, maybe Mary BS Barra should have said, in the next 5 years, it's going to be a wild ride, but things are not going to change as much as you might think. Holy fuck, dude. This just couldn't have ended on a more perfect note. The time frame that this author appears to have been discussing is literally 5 years. This is astonishing. Blindness. Maybe the guy actually gets it, but I doubt it. Talk about false hope here. I'm here to tell you folks, in the next 5 years, it's going to be a brutal ride. Most won't survive the ride, and things are going to change more than just about anyone expects. Unbelievable. Bro, 5 years from now, 2029, at that point in time, my best guess is more than 80% of all new vehicles being sold will be electric globally. Last year, it was about 10%. That's close to a 10x, almost an order of magnitude increase in the number of electric vehicles being sold. And if that's the case, we're going to see an almost 10 times decrease in the number of internal combustion engine vehicles being sold, from most of the world's market today to basically none. Which all sounds like some big fucking change to me. And now the besties from the All In podcast have a few thoughts on the world's greatest CEO, actually the world's greatest politician in CEO's clothing, Mary BS Barra. The conversation coming up is a slight tangent regarding Elon Musk getting fucked by an extremely corrupt activist judge recently in Delaware court, Kathleen McSeebohm.
Physical health, we saw him in those periods. And then to have it taken away, I think is deeply, deeply unfair. Sachs.
You're right. This deal was a win-win. If Elon could achieve these numbers, it was good for him and it was great for shareholders. And that's why I think the key point is that 73 or 80%, depending on how you want to count it, approved this deal. I think they knew everything relevant that they needed to know when they approved it. This is the deal that most shareholders in most companies would want for the CEO. The deal is you get nothing unless you deliver an outsized return for shareholders. Most CEOs won't sign up for this deal. Most CEOs work their way up through the corporate ladder. They get into the CEO chair, and then they pay themselves huge amounts of money regardless of whether the company succeeds or fails. And that's the deal they want because they don't really have confidence in themselves to deliver what Sorkin called the crazy outcome. Elon had the confidence in himself to deliver the crazy outcome. And nobody was really complaining about this until, like you said, this small shareholder who's really basically just, a named plaintiff for the trial lawyers bar, somebody who wants to get Elon to bring this suit.
6% to create $600 billion in value. I mean, it's quite a bargain, folks. And I think if you went to Ford or GM and said, hey, would you like Elon to be your CEO? I think they'd offer him half the company.
Mary Barra doesn't want this deal.
Yeah, no, J. Cal Sachs said something.
David Sachs is spitting some facts here. Again, Mary Barra is absolutely incompetent as a leader of General Motors. She's extremely competent as a politician in CEO's clothing, lying, deceiving, misleading, stealing Tesla's valor, colluding with the President of the United States to do exactly that, deceiving folks in the finance media about their plans, their chance of catching up to and then surpassing Tesla. Barra is an absolute well-oiled bullshit machine. She'd do well in Washington. To Sachs's point, and there'll be much more discussion on this in a moment, there's no way a useless, quote, leader like Mary BS Barra would take a deal like Elon Musk's 2018 compensation package that was purely performance-based. Because the only performance Mary Barra is capable of is not strong performance for the company she's leading, but performances for shareholders and performances on earnings calls and performances with the corrupt president of the United States. Very different things.
Really important that you just mentioned as well, which is that if you actually look at the average compensation plan of most public company CEOs, it actually is very much counter to shareholder value. I'll give you one simple example. If you look at the number of CEO comp packages that are tied to earnings per share growth, but then if you actually look at how these CEOs achieve their EPS targets, they do it by raising debt, so indebting the company, right? Increasing the enterprise value by loading the company up with debt and then driving repurchase plans. And so to say that tacitly, what you disapprove of are performance incentives and what you are actually approving of are mechanics that saddle a company with debt and allow basically gaming of numbers is what you've implicitly also said. And this is where I think the Delaware court used to be known for a level of intellectual clarity that would have prevented that implicit assumption. But that's now what's left on the table. And I think it will have a ripple effect across how so many other companies
100%.
design their compensation plans, how CEOs think about risk. No CEO, as Sachs said, will ever want an incentive-laden plan like this, ever. They will want
because 10
to
years later, you could do all the work and then it gets canceled.
So
why would you take the risk?
They will want something that is totally gameable, right? Where you'll have 90+% support and approval because of how vanilla and benign it is on the surface, but it will actually be quite a terrible plan underneath the surface. And what I mean specifically are these EPS targets for CEOs. So Elon did the one thing that was crazy, which was, I'm just going to do it based on pure profitability and performance. And he gets punished. And all these CEOs in this other class who were like, let me saddle these companies with debt that actually undermine shareholders have been rewarded.
There is already a mechanism for somebody who disagrees with the comp package. This person who owned the 9 shares could have sold their shares. It's a liquid market. At any point in time, that person could say, I don't agree with this. I'm taking my 9 shares and $2,500. I'm going to put it in Apple. I'm going to put it into, I like Tim Cook's pay package better. I like Benioff's package better, and I'll make my bet there. The person had choice. Yes, Sachs? This person was not a victim. He's not a victim because he could have sold the shares and bought other shares, and he's not a victim because he 10x'd his shares and beat the market.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't place the blame on the shareholder per se, because this is really about a judge's interpretation of Delaware law and what companies are allowed to do. So whether the shareholder was harmed or not, or had 1 share or a million shares, that's just the way that this case gets into court. The question is the interpretation of Delaware law. And again, the part of this I would go back to that I think was the mistake is that I think the shareholder vote was valid. I think the process was valid as well. But again, I think shareholders knew what they needed to know. And the evidence of that is in all of the public coverage at that time, nobody thought Elon was getting a good deal. right? No one thought he was getting excessively good. They thought he was getting a delusional deal, meaning delusional for him. And everybody seemed to be okay with the idea that if somehow Elon could pull off this miracle, that he would be entitled to this compensation and he would get nothing if he didn't. Now, again, I would go back to, do you think Mary Barra would have wanted this deal? While Elon was spending the last 5-6 years making Tesla go 10x, let's look at GM. GM's stock price was trading more or less in a flat range.
Just like to pass on my condolences to the final shreds of Mary BS Barra's reputation among people who, well, don't watch this YouTube channel. The All In podcast has a very large audience, and she's currently getting absolutely barbecued. Not only has she been aggressively steering her company directly toward an iceberg, guaranteeing their implosion as a result, when they could have had a chance. Not only is the actual company itself doomed as a result of her incompetence over the last half decade or so, but the performance of Government Motors stock has gone abso-fucking-lutely nowhere, except, of course, a brief spike during the SPAC attack in which a bunch of dumb fucks thought, oh, GM's the next Tesla because they've announced some partnerships with companies who produce computer renderings and make fraudulent statements.
I don't even think the share price doubled.
Yeah, put compare it to. You see the compare to button there? Put compare to and then put Tesla in there.
Right. So if Mary Barra at GM had signed up for that comp package, she would have gotten absolutely nothing, which is why I'm sure that the thought never even crossed her mind of having an all incentive-based comp package that doesn't even start until you at least double the value of the company. By the way, on those milestones, it wasn't just the share price. It was share price and revenue or profit targets being met. So in other words, if the stock just rallied because of macroeconomic conditions, like for example, interest rates go down and then all of a sudden the whole stock market goes up, that was not good enough. It was also tied to the combination of stock value increases with revenue and profit targets being met. It was a comp package that couldn't be gamed. I mean, you have to hit the numbers in order to get the comp package. That's what she got. And I don't want to pick too much on Mary Barra here. I guess I'm picking her out because
she's incompetent. This is so amazing, by the way, just to see David Sachs going in hard on Barra here, because she deserves it. She's absolutely incompetent. Not only that, but I've mentioned in the past, which Sachs is about to revisit, a person with a well-oriented moral compass, when the extremely corrupt President of the United States steals Tesla's valor on your behalf and claims that you electrified the whole industry, you led and it matters. A person with character, a leader, says, well, I appreciate the kind words, President, but we have to give credit where it's due. It's actually Tesla who've really been driving the industry forward. We're doing our best and we appreciate the praise, but we do have to give credit to Tesla. They really are the leader. They're pushing the entire industry. We're doing our best to keep on their tail, and hopefully one day maybe we can catch up. But it would be a little bit unreasonable to imply that we're the ones that are really leading here. So appreciate the praise and compliments, but just had to clear the air there. Don't want people to get the false impression that we're stealing Tesla's valor, because it wouldn't be right. That's what somebody with character would say. But if you happen to be a politician in CEO's clothing, an absolute vulture, a swamp creature, you just nod and smile and happily steal Tesla's valor in public.
And I don't want to pick too much on Mary Barra here. I guess I'm picking her out because Joe Biden said that she created the EV revolution.
Yeah, well done. They've sold 17 cars, and I think they canceled the car.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
By the way, there was a remarkable article in the Wall Street Journal just in December where they finally admitted that this whole idea that GM had been leading any kind of revolution or had been a transformational company was revealed as basically a ruse. But look, you have to wonder how much of this is political. I mean,
spoiler alert, 100% of this is political. The judge is clearly an activist. She's got the message that Elon bad. Somebody's probably tapped her on the shoulder ahead of time saying this may blow up your career given the insanity of this ruling here, but we'll look after you when your career blows up, so don't worry about it. And hey, maybe we'll slip one through and no one will even notice. Maybe there won't even be any repercussions for your heinous actions, Judge. It's excellent to see the All In Besties, David Sachs in particular, calling out Mary BS Barra for being absolutely incompetent. Now, while David Sachs suggests he doesn't want to go in too hard on or pick on Mary BS Barra too much, given her parasitic willingness to steal Tesla's valor, to collude with the president, to fool the American public, and her incessant lying to and misleading of her investors, I'm happy to call out this snake at every opportunity I get. This very well-compensated snake, I might add.
In Delaware is Joe Biden's state. He's the senator. There were articles describing how this judge was connected to a law firm that had helped Joe Biden get elected. And you just kind of wonder whether Biden's directive from the White House podium that we got to get this guy, or we got to look into this guy, that he's an enemy, which has been reflected through all of these different administrative agencies' sudden actions against Elon's companies for the glass house,
Starlink and the FCC.
Yeah, there's been a whole bunch of these issues. And you just wonder, is this another manifestation of that?
Well, David, I don't wonder. I know. It sure fucking is. Pretty brazen. And remember, there is a presidential election in the United States this year. And Musk, through X, is allowing people to freely share their thoughts, opinions, and ideas, and possibly even articles in the future that may be material to the outcome of the presidential election as opposed to suppressing them, which happened last time around. P.S. What laptop? My message, the attacks will continue to ramp up and become even more absurd, brazen, ridiculous, and egregious.
Yeah. I mean, the conspiracy theories are quickly becoming closer to reality. And we definitely need to investigate that for sure, because the FCC thing is crazy. Spending $15,000 putting fiber into people's homes when you could spend $1,500 giving them Starlink makes no sense. And those same people who have to wait for fiber, talked about this on a previous episode, they're just going to get Starlink anyway. They're going to buy Starlink while they're waiting for the government fiber for 10 years. It's absurd.
I do want to up-level this just back to what I was saying, and I'll try to make the point better. I think it's really, really unfair what's happening to Elon, but I want to take a step back and think about just the bigger picture. If we want an economy of vibrant companies that do great things, we're going to need to reward people to work at those companies. And in order for the United States to sort of continue to exert some amount of dominance in the areas that we think are important, we need to be economically vibrant, right?
And fair.
And fair. And the problem is that this really perverts incentives, and it's going to exacerbate a trend that I think has actually held a bunch of our companies back. So the first thing I just wanted to show you guys was just this little thing that it's just a pie chart that shows, okay, how do CEOs get paid, right? So we want CEOs to go and run really important companies, right? We want those companies to do great things in the world. We want these CEOs to be deeply motivated to go and push the boundaries of what's possible, right? We want all that. And so we want to compensate them to do those things. This is just a representation of how CEOs have structured their pay packages. And you'd say, wow, all of these numbers seem reasonable. Return on capital, total shareholder return, earnings per share. So what you need to do then is double click into this, right? So this is how CEO pay packages are made. But the problem is, and Jason, this is my problem with a bunch of these companies, that all the returns, all that shareholder return that you saw, the return, it's all driven by share buybacks.
Yep.
This is an artificial gamesmanship of performance. This is not companies pushing the boundaries. You know, this is not Disney figuring out.
It's not innovation.
This is
not
Disney.
M&A.
This is Disney creating footfalls and falling into potholes of their own making. But you can drive great compensation because you can game the way that you are paid. This doesn't make America great. It doesn't create American exceptionalism. In fact, it just creates a bunch of financial engineering that results in marginal companies. And David just gave an example of one that could be considered that. So the point is that when you have one person that tries to buck this trend, I just think it has a huge impact by basically saying, hey, play the game like everybody else. Just game it. Just dial it in from your country club. Make sure that you become a member of Augusta. That's more important to us than actually sleeping on the factory floor.
And don't take risk. I mean, if you think about what do you do if you're Apple, you're Google, you're Microsoft, you're sitting on tons of cash. The safe thing to do.
You see what they do.
You just buy back the shares.
No,
just
wait,
buy back the shares. You can't do M&A.
You issue debt.
Yes.
And then you buy back the shares.
Arbitrage.
You encumber the shareholders with debt, and then you artificially inflate total shareholder return and earnings per share and the return on invested capital because of how we can play these games in America. So right now, what we are doing is we are not motivating CEOs to run great companies. We're motivating CEOs to understand financial arbitrage. The result will be crappier companies that diminish American exceptionalism. That is the only outcome.
So just while we were talking, I just looked up what Mary Barra's compensation was over the past several years. And according to this source, she was paid $167 million for 4 years. So while Elon got zero, thanks to the judge's decision, Mary Barra, basically, if you add in probably the 5th year, let's call it roughly $200 million of compensation over the last 5 years. Now look at the stock chart of GM. Literally, it is the same price today as it was 5 years ago. It's $38 a share today. It was $38 a share 5 years ago.
No, but it's worse. It's probably worse because they've issued options since then. So there's dilution. You have to take in.
Right.
So it's worse than that, actually.
But at best, the stock price is flat. And the stock basically fluctuated in line with market trends. So when there was an asset bubble in 2021, the share price went up about 50%. And she got even more stock and options during that time. But it was a no-lose proposition, basically. She got paid regardless of how the stock did. And then when there was simply market volatility, she did even better. One of the nice things about Elon's package is that unless Tesla at least doubled in value, he would get nothing. And it was tied to milestones around revenue and profit. So he couldn't just ride market volatility to getting more comp.
If you gave this executive the same deal as Elon, she would have had to double 38. So, she would have had to get to $76.
About 80, call it roughly $80 a share.
Yeah, she would have to get to $80 a share before she got anything. I bet you if she got she got paid $1 in her healthcare and she had to get to $80 a share, I bet you that would be an $80 stock price.
Well, I don't know if she has the ability to engineer that outcome.
Get fucking wrecked. I completely agree, by the way. No chance, bro. I get Jason's point. If there was a stronger incentive for performance of the company, she'd be more heavily incentivized to make it happen. But bro, Mary Barra is not cut out to lead an automotive company through this transition to EVs. So I agree with Zach's rather brutal point there. And just to think, over the past half decade roughly, Mary BS Barra has been compensated to the tune of approximately $250 million for destroying essentially any possibility that GM had of surviving the transition to EVs and delivering literally zero value to GM shareholders. You did it, Mary.
But I doubt.
So you're saying she's unqualified?
No, well, the Wall Street Journal said it. The Wall Street Journal just had this 10-year of
no. That's my point.
Where they said that she failed.
They're hiding the incompetence. Then
Well, look, I mean, I don't want to say she's incompetent.
I happily will, David. She is incompetent.
I'll say that the stock price is the same. The Wall Street Journal had an article talking about
all
of her transformation initiatives have failed. She swept roughly $200 million over just the last 5 years. I think she's been there 10.
So how is she in charge?
She's probably made several $100 million, and the company hasn't created any value for shareholders.
So how is she still in charge?
Because
Now, spoiler alert, we are about to gain an insight into the way the world operates, the way most CEOs end up running companies, at least in the United States. And the truth is, it's not through outstanding performance, suitability for the role, and competence. Instead, it's knowing how to play the political game and climb the corporate ladder, to say the right things, not to do the necessary things.
Jason, this is the way the Fortune 500 works. It's a country club, okay? Who gets appointed to these companies? These companies are not run by founders. They're not even run by VCs who have serious skin in the game. The kind of directors that this judge didn't like, okay? It's run by people who play the game. They basically are on other boards, and it's basically a back-scratching club.
David Sachs, spitting facts. Oh, and speaking of boards, for some completely unrelated reason, I just remembered that Mary BS Barra happens to currently sit on the board of Disney. I don't know why I mentioned that.
And they choose the CEO. They choose someone who's politically savvy, who's worked their way up through the system.
Politically savvy. He just said it. Politician in CEO's clothing. Perfect description of Mary BS Barra. David Sachs is singing my song today.
Donates to the right people who can get Joe Biden to come to a factory and talk about how great they are and hold an EV summit at the White House and invent this fiction that they were responsible for this innovation. This is basically how the system works.
So corrupt.
Facts, 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 and more facts. And what a great place to wrap up. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 has given me a massive, meaningful boost in energy, allowing me to do a lot more every day, including using my brain more and using my body more. I highly recommend you guys and girls check it out. It's an excellent way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's got 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus prebiotics and probiotics and digestive enzymes and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. Plus, if you click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, you can get yourself a 1-year free supply of vitamin D3 and K2. But don't take my word for it. Here's what some of you guys and girls have to say. AG1 has changed my life. I was, as you described, treating myself like a circus, ate like trash, rarely exercised, used alcohol as a stress crutch, cannabis also. AG1 is what gave me the kick in the ass, got me back to the gym, motivated me to do more for myself, family, my business, etc. Keep doing what you do. Now, I know there's some skeptics, the same kind of people who think Elon Musk is a fraud, reading this going, what do you thought? There's no way that's possible, bro. It must be a placebo effect. Believe it or not, this is a recurring theme. If you give your body everything it needs to feel and perform its best, including having a lot more energy, you'll need ways to use that energy. For me personally, that includes more exercise, moving my body more social activity, and more cognitively demanding tasks, including producing a ton of exclusive content over on Twitter and on Patreon, plus my daily YouTube uploads. The proof's in the pudding. On to another testimonial from a viewer of this channel. SMR, you asked me to provide feedback on AG1. Here it is. It has helped with mental acuity, stamina, and intestinal waste management. Can't read between the lines. Certainly helps with regularity and digestion. That's what the digestive enzymes are for. It has also dramatically reduced my cravings for sugar. You guys need to stop eating sugar. It's fucking poison. I'm 50, 5'9", and overweight, aka a fat motherfucker. I think that's a technical term for overweight, isn't it? Is it fat motherfucker or obese? I can't remember. I average 100 hours a week in the West Texas oil fields as a safety supervisor. Jesus Christ, dude. No wonder you're struggling to keep your weight under control. 100 hours a week. Brutal. It has helped me lose weight. It is not an appetite suppressant. It can help fat people suppress cravings, and motivation to be healthier is critical for changing your diet. Love you, brother. Again, this is a great point. It's something people really don't seem to grasp. If you have more energy, everything becomes easier. It's like turning on easy mode for life. A few years ago, before I was taking AG1, my health was trash. I was struggling to get through the day, had afternoon fatigue. The last thing I wanted to do was either use my brain or move my body. Didn't have the energy. Now, my biggest struggle every day is figuring out ways to use that energy. I'm exercising way more, doing a lot more with my friends and family, and of course, my work output has increased substantially. And you can fact check me. Check out the average length of my videos I was posting to YouTube 3 years ago. Need I say more? And one final testimonial. Love this one. Okay, here's the deal for me with this AG1 shit. I'm 41 years old and not the type to eat, drink, smoke, or sleep healthy, so I was skeptical. That being said, here's what I experienced. Day 1, meh. Day 2, afternoon fatigue was about 45 minutes late. Day 3, 0 afternoon fatigue. Day 4, 0 afternoon fatigue plus extra energy. Day 5, again, 0 afternoon fatigue plus energy, wondering, what the fuck, really? See, this is the thing, right? The results for many people are just almost too good to be true. This is the same experience I had. My afternoon fatigue just vanished out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I not tired in the afternoons anymore? Surely, it's not that AG1, is it? Turns out it was. Day 6 and 7, same thing. Day 8, same thing. Plus, I had the want to get things done around the house that I normally would slack off and not get done. Again, the point, extra energy, you'll need to use it, you'll find ways to use it. Day 9, 10, and 11, and today is day 12. I fucking love it. So however you managed to get me to buy it, I'm so glad you did. Thank you so much, SMR. It really changed me so far. Guys, this shit really works. Just try it. By the way, this is the reason I continue to relentlessly promote AG1. A lot of people get real fucking mad in the comments. Oh my God, Snake Oil Salmon's sold out. Oh my God, he's a scammer. This is fraud. But constantly, I'm pretty sure everyone making these comments is also currently short Tesla stock. I'm not particularly concerned about people having a negative perception, those folks suffering from small brain syndrome, still living in my bum's basement syndrome, etc., writing mean comments, claiming AG1's a scam or it doesn't work. I mean, bro, when I get feedback like this is what keeps me going. Just try this stuff for a month, and if you don't get these results, get your money back. See, it's a literal no-brainer. It's an IQ test at this point in time. Testimonial after testimonial after testimonial like this. Get your money back if it doesn't work. Just try it for a month, and if it doesn't work, get your money back. Today's the day. It's finally time. Be like this guy who was a massive skeptic, but finally, after 1,000 promotions in a row, caved in, tried AG1, and has results like this. Head to drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment, and please, let me know how you're feeling in a few weeks' time. Now, if you'll excuse me, time to put my extra energy to good use. I'll be recording some more exclusive content for Patreon and my Twitter subscribers. So click the links in the pinned comment. See you over on Twitter and or Patreon, and don't forget to grab your AG1. Love ya.